Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass, and I'm here with my partner in crime, good friend of the show, creator of the show, Mr. Nick Barrett. How are you today?
Friend of the show? Yeah, I better be a friend of the show. I created this show. What do you mean?
I mean,
you're an intern. You can be fired at any time.
Wow, am unpaid intern.
Unpaid intern. This is actually listen. This was my idea. We're actually gonna talk about Inside.
It's so funny because we were talking about Inside for like 30 minutes before recording this. It's kind of funny.
Yep.
No, today is top 5 shows. We haven't done
top 5 favorite TV shows.
Top 5 episode in a very long time.
I think the last top 5 we did was top 5 movies last year.
That was last year, like early last year too. I think we've kind of gotten the format done a little better. Top 5 TV shows of all time, but that's not going to take up a whole hour. So I have a fun game we can play. Today we will be going to the hotspot for the coolest, hottest place on the internet. If you're
WatchMojo.com.
If you're 28, BuzzFeed.com, and
yes.
This game is called I'm going to give you an argument from a sitcom, and I want the honest truth about who you think is the jerk. I think they could have named it a little better.
I can do this.
Okay.
Wait, we got to do a coffee time style intro. We got to do who's in the wrong or no?
Who's in the wrong? Unless you have
get super close.
Unless you have anything to recap about your week.
No,
I don't.
No, because we kind of have to pre-record this one a little bit.
Yeah.
So
we recorded like Friday, and it's
we recorded Friday, and now it's Wednesday. So like
nothing happened.
I haven't even gone through a full week. Nothing. The only thing that happened was the new Fortnite chapter dropped.
That was fun. Yeah.
But we're not a gaming podcast, nor do I want to subject our listeners to us talking about Fortnite, because we really don't know what we're talking about.
You know, I didn't realize this. I'll talk about this for a second, then we can play our game. I didn't realize how much of like a Fortnite world there was until like I really saw it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like there's still such a community around it. It's kind of bizarre, but we're not here to talk about that.
True.
So
okay,
tune in next time for a really epic. Tune in next time for a really epic weekly recap. All right, here we go.
Oh yeah. I've gone to Disney by the next episode.
Monica inherits a dollhouse from her aunt and asks Phoebe to help her with it. Phoebe's excited since she never had one before, but Monica does not like her ideas and wants her to leave. Phoebe says that is unfair. Who's in the wrong? Monica, Phoebe, neither or both.
Okay. So
I remember this episode.
I think personally, I think Phoebe's in the wrong because it's not her dollhouse. Because I've experienced this before where it's like your sibling or your parent or your friend or whatever gets something that you've never had before, and you want to experience that thing, which is not wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting to have that experience. But at the end of the day, it's not Phoebe's dollhouse. So therefore, I think Phoebe's in the wrong here. I don't think I think Monica. I think Monica is right in how she acts with like being overprotective of the dollhouse? No. But I don't think Phoebe's in the right. That's my argument.
Is Phoebe in the wrong for wanting to have that experience? No. Is she kind of in the wrong for taking over? Because if I remember the episode, she kind of like wanted like a lot, and she
wanted a dinosaur in there.
Yeah, and it was like
That's
haunted, and like, but also on the other hand, she was just kind of having fun. So what do you want to say, Phoebe?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Phoebe's
in the wrong. Wow. Okay.
What, do the majority of people say Monica's in the wrong?
Yeah, 56% of people say that Monica is in the wrong. That's wild.
Yeah, it's because the show portrays the very like Monica is like anti-creativity or like anti-imagination. That's the whole stance the show takes, and doesn't like step back to be like, well, Phoebe, this isn't your dollhouse.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's kind of like, have you seen the first episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? Where he's like...
Yes, but it's been a hot minute.
It's like, we can be creative. That green is not a creative color.
Yeah,
that's
Don't
kind
Hug
of
Me,
a...
I'm Scared was such an era.
That's a little bit more adult reference. I cannot recommend that because it's
I watched Don't Hug Me,
terrifying.
I'm Scared when I was like 14.
I watched it when I was
Adult
16
reference.
and was like gave me nightmares. Like
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, shockingly enough, did not give me nightmares. Five Nights at Freddy's did, though.
okay, that's fair. I never even
Nightmares
played. I
for
just
weeks.
watched the MatPat game theory videos.
Same.
And like it was like, oh my gosh, they're coming to get me. But hey, scaring kids is a lucrative industry.
It's true. As we learned from last episode, talking about traumatizing children on Tower
On the
of Terror.
Tower of Terror. Go back, listen to that. It was a good episode.
If you haven't,
If you have,
haven't
listen
listened to
again.
me talk about that.
Okay, here we go. The office has a communal microwave where someone has made a mess and then not cleaned it up.
Oh no!
Pam sees it and leaves a note addressing the mess. A few of the people feel that that note is very stuck up and Pam should just chill. Who's in the wrong?
Everyone else. Everyone else.
But Pam?
Because here's the thing. When you agree to use a communal microwave, and if your food makes a mess in the microwave, it's your responsibility to clean it up. I know this because I used to work at Publix, and we had a communal microwave in the break room. I would take like pasta, like leftover pasta, and if the sauce splattered all over the inside, I would take a paper towel and just wipe down the inside. It's not that hard. It'll take you maybe 30 seconds to do. And, you know, I don't think Pam is in the wrong for encouraging a, you know, good, clean, sanitary workplace.
I agree.
Especially
this is,
nowadays.
This is a battle my mom has been fighting since I was a child, where it was like, you make a mess in the kitchen, you gotta clean it up, because it's just like it's your responsibility. So I'm gonna say who's in the
also
wrong.
like leaving food around is also how you get bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff.
Especially in like a communal space, like an office.
No shade to my last roommate. I don't even think they listen to the podcast, but they had a rampant like just leaving food out problem, which I don't know why they didn't correct this problem, because they had cockroaches in the house. Like, it was a semi-frequent thing, and I would be like, maybe we don't leave the waffles with the syrup on the couch on a paper plate.
Ooh.
Because that attracts bugs. Like, it would sit there all day, and I would have to go in and like, okay, nope, garbage, throwing that away.
See, that shouldn't be your
can't leave that on the couch.
responsibility.
Exactly,
But
because it's not my mess.
Is this when you and your mom like cleaned out the fridge and found like
Yes.
years of old food? Okay, so I'm gonna say the
Ew.
people are in the wrong. Yeah, 81% agree.
Yeah. If you think Pam's in the wrong, then you are just lazy.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
This is spicy. If you think Pam is in the wrong, then I think you're the problem.
Yeah, I think you might be the
you
stuck up.
gotta take a long hard look at yourself. All right,
Yeah.
this is spicy. Monica sees a guy she likes, but is afraid to go talk to him, and asks her best friend Rachel to talk to him for her. Rachel does so, but
Rachel.
asks the guy out on a date herself. Monica says that's not fair since she liked him first. Who is in the wrong? Okay, I'd like to say, I think, as someone who has been in a similar situation, Rachel is completely in the wrong.
No,
Because
definitely.
because that's just a terrible friendship move. Because it's like, why would you go for someone that you know that your friend likes? You gotta
What
support.
point
You gotta
in the
support the
show-
homies.
What point in the show was this? Was this one of those where Rachel was trying to get back at Monica, so she did this?
I
Because
think
Rachel,
If I remember
By far.
correctly, now this is gonna make me sound like an extreme Friends fan. I'm pretty sure this is the one after.
Well, you
the
are an
Super...
extreme Friends fan.
The one after the Super Bowl Part 2, where they're on the movie set and she goes for Jean-Claude Van Damme. Right?
I don't remember.
Okay. So Rachel's
I remember
in the wrong...
that this happened, but I don't remember, like, I don't remember the context. That's why I asked. Okay.
Dating
First
is
of
not
all,
finders keepers.
Don't make me talk about Rachel Green, the worst character in Friends. Dear God, please no. Second of all, can you stop mowing the grass, please? Anyway, second of all, I think I'm gonna say they're both in the wrong. Because, one, was it incredibly wrong of Rachel to go and steal this guy, who Monica clearly had showed interest in? Yes. But I also think Monica was in the wrong knowing how Rachel is, like knowing her personality, and this is something that she would do. Sending her to get this information for you was wrong.
Well,
I think she would have been better spent to send someone like Phoebe, who is not going to do that.
I think that's... you can't justify someone's wrong actions by saying, oh, classic Rachel. Like...
Well, yes, I can. I just did.
That's what I think. 62% say that Rachel is in the wrong. 13 say both.
Ultimately, Rachel is in the wrong. Like, that is,
Yeah.
Ultimately, Rachel is in the wrong. That is...
Okay.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Michael and Jim are at a meeting in a hotel. Michael falls into the koi pond in the lobby. Upon reviewing the security tape, he sees that Jim did nothing to stop him from falling. Jim says he was caught off guard. Who's in the wrong?
Michael.
I think neither of them are in the wrong.
No, okay. Wait, what's the point of them being wrong? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm pretty sure in the episode Michael is like mad and he's like, I can't believe you didn't save me.
Is it like Michael is mad because Jim didn't save him, and Jim is like, well, I couldn't really do anything? Mm-hmm. Because if that's the case, then Michael's in the wrong. Like, yes, he is, like, I'm not trying to invalidate Michael's feelings, but Michael is justified in being upset, but he also has to acknowledge that there really wasn't much Jim could do.
Yeah.
Because, by the time Jim noticed, Michael was already halfway in the pond.
Yeah.
And, like, Jim took a step back to keep from also falling in.
Yeah.
Which would have been detrimental to their
sale,
like, meeting that they were going for. So, no, I think Michael's in the wrong. I don't think Jim did anything wrong, because really, if he would have grabbed Michael, he would have also, like, fallen in.
I think...
So,
I'm going to say neither, because I think Michael has valid feelings to be like, why didn't you save me? But also, that's also a classic Michael thing. Like, of course he's going to do that. Not to say Jim should have saved him. He should have known that Michael would have gotten mad. But it's just like, I think, do we want to say, I'll say, I'm
gonna say Michael, but since you're the one like running it on your phone or whatever, you can say whatever
15% said Michael. 64% said neither.
Wow. So this is what it feels like to be in the minority.
Yeah.
We love it here.
All right, here's the last one. Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
I'm scared now.
The final question. This is like the main plot of Friends, and so if you if that's a spoiler, like skip ahead a little bit.
Is this
this is essentially were they on a break?
Yes. Yes. I will defend this point to the death. Everyone's like, they weren't on a break. They went on a break. I was like, yes, they were. The episode before, she literally said, we should take a break. And Ross was like, oh, maybe take a break, like go get some ice cream, like calm down, like the normal like boyfriend response. Like, okay, let's step back from the situation and, take a breather, and then we'll come back at it, fresh. That's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. And Rachel was like, no. From us. And then Ross was like devastated and did like the thing. Wait, is that the episode where he was like grabbing onto her shirt, like kneeling and like hugging her waist? That was when they actually broke up.
That was the most intense episode of Friends ever.
Yeah, because I thought it was over. And then, their whole relationship goes downhill from there. Which, by the way, totally off topic, but Megan went to the Friends experience, and she sent me a picture. They have, like, this timeline of the entire show and how all of the relationships go.
That's so cool.
And Phoebe is, like, a straight line because she does not date any of the other cast. Well, no, it's, like...
Oh, between the main cast. Okay.
Right. So, like, there's, like, Monica and Chandler are straight lines, and then they come together for, like, seasons 5 through 10, by the way. Or 9, or however many seasons there are. Like, they're together for half the show, which is crazy. And then, like, I was so proud of Joey. He was going so strong, straight line. And then at the very end, for, like, 2 seconds, he dipped up for Rachel. And I was like, no, come on, Joey. You're so close. And then there's Ross and Rachel that looks like a heartbeat monitor. That's like, do, like, up and down. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Jeez. Anyway, no, they were on a break. Now,
I kind of agree.
Here's the thing, though. You gotta get into the little nuances of this because, yes, Ross thought they were done, but did he need to necessarily go out and sleep with someone else that soon? No.
Was that a grief
because
response?
He still had...
Yes.
Yeah, because he still... had the intention of going back to Rachel. So in the broader sense, they were on a break. When you get into the little nuances, they were both in the wrong. So
you want to say both?
That's my take.
I like
both.
That. We'll say both.
Are people saying they're not on a break?
What? 66% of this poll says that Ross is in the wrong.
No.
Guys,
no. Come on, guys. Wake up, sheeple.
They were both
Wake up,
in the
sheeple.
wrong.
Stop taking Rachel's side. Stop feeling bad for her. Listen, she overreacted. What did they even get in a... What did they even fight? What were they even fighting over?
Oh, gosh.
That made her say we should go on a break.
It was Mark.
Oh, that's right. And he showed up to her office.
But is he not in the wrong for thinking that was more?
And what's so funny is she's like, no, nothing's going to happen with Mark. Nothing's going to happen with Mark. Nothing's going to happen. And then literally, while they're on a break, or not in air quotes, but like, because they are on a break, she almost hooks up with Mark.
I'm saying! They're both in the wrong.
They're both in the wrong. Exactly. It is exactly what caused the fight in the first place.
My gosh. I think
again,
man, what a good quiz.
My thoughts.
Nothing like
listen,
solving.
If you want to go back and hear me rant about Ross and Rachel, go listen to
the Friends pod.
It was actually the first 30 seconds of that episode. I put in the clip of me saying I don't think Ross and Rachel should be together. Which is true. I really don't. I think Rachel put Ross through way too much, and he should have moved on a long time ago. That was a very toxic relationship.
But I also understand they had so much
and he deserved
history.
so much better.
Well, I also understand that, since the...
I'm going to stay with my toxic ex because we have so much history.
He still loved her.
Jeez.
He still loved her, okay? And she, deep down, loved him.
He loved her enough to get her pregnant. God. Freaking Ross. What an idiot. I can't stand it. He's almost as stupid as Rachel.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry. I said what I said.
Okay. That was.
I understand if you want to leave the podcast.
That was us solving moral issues with fictional characters.
See, here's the thing. I personally identify more as a Chandler, so I can insult Ross all I want. He's my college best friend who's being an idiot. Who was clearly not called out enough by Chandler, me, and Joey.
Amazing. Okay. Well, so top 5 shows, am I right?
Wait. Before we jump into our main topic for today, I want to take a second to plug our social media. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at the Nerdiest Podcast. And also, be sure to check the description for a poll or a question of the week or something. It'll be there. I'll figure it out in editing what it's going to be, but it will be there. So,
Click on there if you're on Spotify.
check that out. Yep. Oh, yeah, only if you're on Spotify. Sorry.
Sad. Okay,
Sorry.
so I think this could be a back and forth top 5. We'll do top 4 and then do honorable mentions and then reveal the number 1 pick, like a Watch Mojo video.
Number 1.
This will remember kind of allot your times for what shows you'll want to talk about more. So like, don't go
that's hard because I really like all of my shows.
Don't go like 20 minutes on every show. So.
Oh, well, I was actually planning on going 6 hours on number 1.
What are you, like, a YouTube essay?
Yeah, I'm actually going to do a video essay.
One of those, like, 8-hour essays about, like, Victorious?
Yeah, precisely.
Wow.
On why my number 1 show... Ooh,
that was close.
Almost said what it was.
Uh-huh.
That was a close one there.
All right, number 5.
Number 5. All right, I'm going to go first.
You go first.
Because I don't care. My number 5 is, drumroll please, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Wow.
Call me new gen trash because it's number 5, but I've been like rewatching it because Jackson's watching the first season and I want to be, familiarized with the first season as well. I was rewatching it and it was just so good. The writing on point, animation on point. It's just a really good show. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the movie last year, which filled me with so much hype.
Did you see the movie like 4 times?
Yeah. I've seen the movie 4 times. I bought it on Amazon Prime Video and on DVD. And it is probably one of my most like rewatched movies. Like I rewatched, well, not the whole movie, but like parts of it. And it jumped to my number 1 on the 2021 movie rankings in April and stayed there through the whole year. Nothing could top Demon Slayer, which is crazy. And then season 2 just finished, and that was a gift from God. Just like Arcane, Demon Slayer season 2 was a gift from God. So yes, Demon Slayer has earned the number 5 spot on my top 5 favorite shows of all time.
Wow. What was the really mean TikTok comment about your poster? What did it say?
Oh yeah, it was a TikTok comment on a reel we did about Dune like a while ago.
Oh yeah.
And somebody commented about my Demon Slayer wall
decor.
Wall decor. I know what it's called, but I don't remember it. Anyway. They were like, yeah, of course you don't like Dune. You watch Demon Slayer, which means you have a short attention span. And I'm like, brother, no.
As someone
that's
who
not what
has
that means.
a short
It just means
attention span, I have to like really lock on to Demon Slayer. I'll be honest. It'll be like, watch this. So
yeah,
people just say things.
I don't know about short attention span.
He's like, he was just in his bedroom going L plus ratio. Got him. Oh, short attention.
L plus
span.
ratio plus you watch Demon Slayer. Cringe.
It's like,
yeah, I don't. It's also, is it really fair to compare Demon Slayer and Dune?
No.
No. Not even close. Jackson's dog is acting up again. What a dog. Am I right, gang?
You're right. Oh my gosh.
I'm just waiting for him to stop.
Hi, sorry. What did you do?
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, my number 4.
I'm sorry.
To fill time here, because
Sorry,
Jackson's light fell over.
The dog just busted in and destroyed it. Okay. Number 5. It's
you
still
good?
changing colors. Hold on.
Oh my gosh. So we're gonna talk about
I got it.
the colors on Tanjiro's coat. It's green and it's black.
I think I got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are the colors.
Sorry
They
about
are green and they are black.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So, number 5. These are top 5 favorite shows. These will change over the years as more shows come out and I watch more. But I just have to... I thought about shows that I would watch again. And, like, could watch infinitely. And as I was thinking about that, I realized my number 5 pick, which is the most underrated sitcom of the 90s, which is Boy Meets World.
Oh,
Boy Meets World
thought
is
he was
my
gonna
number
say
5.
30 Rock.
No. Boy Meets World is my number 5 pick because it has some of the most well-written characters you will ever see in a show. And I think that the show has just left a lasting impact on me as the characters grew up, because they start like in like low high school, and then you get to see them graduate college, which is just so incredible to see that character development and watch from beginning to end. And they do the characters so much justice, and like it's just done so incredibly well, and it's so funny. There's a quote from season 2 of Boy Meets World where one of the bullies, I say this all the time, he goes, "Man, it looks so clean you could eat it." He goes, "You mean eat off it?" I said what I said. It's just the dumbest lines. Mr. Feeney is an icon. Go watch Boy Meets World. It's on Disney+.
I said what I said.
I said what I said. When you said that, that's when you said that earlier. I was like, that's what I thought of.
Ross,
like, looks so
Ross
good.
sucks. I said what I said.
It's like, looks so good you could eat it. You mean eat off it? I said what I said.
L plus ratio plus your Ross.
Boy Meets World is better than Demon Slayer.
I mean, you haven't finished Demon Slayer, so I feel like you're not qualified to say that.
You can't compare them.
You gotta, no. Once you get to the end of season 1.
Yeah, there you go. Number 4.
It'll surpass. Number 4. My number 4 is a cult classic. It is, it's kind of a shame it's this low on this list, which is kind of sad, but once you see the other shows,
okay,
it'll make sense. Number 4 is The Office.
Wow.
Need I say more? It's The Office. It's the first sitcom, like adult sitcom. I put in air quotes because it's like not a Disney Channel sitcom. It was the first adult sitcom that I watched, and so good, so funny. Jim and Dwight, great duo. Jim and Pam, what should be the human standard for relationships.
Not
Michael
Ross and
Scott,
Rachel.
everything not to look for in a boss, but also simultaneously everything to look for in a boss at the same time. Michael and Holly, again,
amazing.
Should be the human standard for relationships. Like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the show, just because, when
It's
you
The
say The Office is number 4, like, yeah, it's The Office. Like, what is there to say about it other than it's The Office? So,
do you wanna know? My number 4 is also The Office.
hey yo,
So,
Poggers.
it would have been higher, but those last few seasons like hurt me so bad. Like everyone rags
understandable.
on The Office's last seasons. Like they're watchable, but like I'm suddenly aware that it's a show instead of thinking that it's a real documentary. But I think
it also suffers without Steve Carell.
It
without
really
Michael
does.
Scott.
I think what I love about The Office as a creator is I think The Office was the ideal way to create a show, because you had writers, producers, directors, actors involved with everything. So everyone on the show, almost everyone on the show, was also writers. And so like them being so involved really made some of the funniest moments and like some of these amazing characters. And I think The Office really set up that mockumentary style that has been recreated a million times at this point. And that is legitimately one of my favorite styles you can shoot in. Like that single camera, like it's fly on the wall. So good. So good. It'd be higher, but there's other shows I like better. And like we said, those later seasons.
Here's the thing, though. I think people are gonna get really outraged over what my number 3 is. After putting The Office at number 4. Number 3.
Which show is better than The
3.
Office? Come on, tell me, huh? Share. Huh? Come on.
I put Community at number 3.
Really?
Yeah, which some people, like, I think I was telling my mom, I was like, oh yeah, Community's great, like, you should watch it, it's really funny, and, I think it's better than The Office. And she was like, come on, Nick, you don't think that's true? And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty good. And I mean, like, for me, Community has, which, first of all, I feel like I can relate more to Community in a sense as a college student, because I'm obviously not a salesperson working in a paper office, but of course you can relate to like Jim, because you're funny, or you're like have a crush on this girl, or like you like picking, like you like pranking people, like whatever you're like, however you relate to those characters. But Community overall is more, it's more my speed. And not to say The Office isn't. I love The Office to death. And what has helped Community get here is the fact that it is still on Netflix, and it is now that, like, because like there was a night a couple weeks ago where I was up super late and I just could not go to sleep, and I was like, I just need something that I know, like that comfort show that you're not like, it's not like anime where like there's explosions or whatever happening on screen, or it's in a different language. It's just Community. It's just they're doing stuff around the college, and
this is what Community is.
That's what it is. And I don't know. I just think it's a really underrated show that people don't talk about enough. And yes, the latter seasons do get rough, especially especially as the cast members start to
leave the show, and like Dan Harmon wasn't there anymore. But honestly, they don't. So Community is one of those shows that, yes, cast members left, but unlike the difference between Community and The Office is Community actually had decent replacements. Like, can you replace Donald Glover's Troy? Never. No. So, but they didn't try to, like, they didn't get another guy that was just like Troy. The Office tried to turn Andy into Michael Scott, where Community was like, we can't recreate that. Just throw in new characters that can be just as funny.
Right. And, I think Community didn't crash as hard as The Office did, which is crazy because they had the equal amount of, like, show to crash ratio. Like, The Office had 3 seasons, Community had 3 seasons. After season 3, Community started to fall off. And, The Office, like, season 7, it was okay. Like, they were doing good. And then season 8 was just nosedive into the ground. And season 9 was, like, the plane continuing to run across the ground before it finally just stopped.
Yeah.
Whereas Community was, like, season 4, okay, that's a little bit of a dip, Season 5, oh, that's a little bit of a dip. Season 6, they were like, okay, land the plane. We're done. We're done. Land the plane.
Well, they had to do 6 seasons in a movie. Like, I'm waiting for that.
That's true. We're still waiting on the movie.
6 seasons in a movie! But
Come on, it's gotta happen.
Come on. But I also, like, it's wild. Some of my favorite episodes of Community are in the last season. Like, oh, should I have put Community on this list? Anyway.
I can't, wait, Community is not on this list?
Yeah.
Whoa. Not saying that we should have very similar lists, but like, whoa.
Who introduced you to Community, huh? Well,
dang.
I think Community, I'm a huge fan of creativity. Like, of course, like, duh. Yeah. Who's not a fan of creativity? But I think when you watch a lot of sitcoms, they start to repeat. Community is not one that repeats. Community is consistently, like, shocking me with what they're doing next in a good way. And I think their paintball episodes are a great example of, like, they didn't hold back at all. They, like, were throwing every, like, creative bone they had at the show to do, like, a different style, like, almost every episode, and write some of the funniest dialogue you'll ever see in a sitcom. So funny.
And another thing I think Community does really well, and this is my last thing, and then we can move on to the next show. But another thing Community does really well is it handles the diversity of the study group. And like, when I say diversity, I don't mean like, racial or like gender. I mean like
from where they come from in life.
Like, yeah, like, and that, and like their, what I'm gonna call political, like. Jeff is, what is he? I think he's agnostic.
He's like agnostic.
Britta's atheist. Shirley's a Christian. Abed's a Muslim. Like, and like, Annie's a Jewish. So like, they have all of these different backgrounds, but yet they can still be this really closely knit group of friends who consider themselves family. And as, you know, someone who does have a college friend group where we don't all agree on, you know, religion or politics or like all these big ticket things, we don't have to in order to be like, you guys want to all go see Sonic? You want to go see, you know, No Way Home? Like, oh my gosh, that Nintendo Direct was crazy. Like, you don't have to agree with everyone on everything in order to be good friends. And I like that message because I think people nowadays really lean into the whole like, well, you don't agree with me politically, so we can't be friends. Or you're not a Christian, we can't be friends. And I'm like, well, but that person, like, you might have other things in common with that person. And, you know, at some point you just have to agree to disagree on those big things and focus on the things you do have in common. Like, you know, hobbies, interests, shows, like that kind of thing. And Community handles that very well. One of my favorite episodes is that Christmas episode where Shirley is really trying to, like, push that whole Christmas Christian narrative,
has
and
some of
they're
the
like
best Christmas episodes of any show I've seen. So good.
No, it's true. And like Shirley is really trying to push this narrative down other people's throats, which it's a shame to say it, but Christians do way too much. And you know, I'm all for calling him out on it because it's something that needs to be fixed. And you know, the whole moral is like, we don't have to all have the same religion to celebrate Christmas. Like, there are plenty of non-religious people who still celebrate Christmas. Like, it's just that time of the year when you want to, you know, watch Christmas movies and eat cookies and, you know, just be merry with the people you care about. So that is another thing, like, really pushed Community up there to number 3.
So now I feel bad for not putting it on my list, but it's fine.
It's okay. You still have a chance. You can put it in honorable mentions.
It's in honorable mentions. Don't worry. It's at the top of honorable mentions.
Good.
I think what's kind of ironic, because it's Community, it shows how to have community with anyone. And that's like it's, the show gets like weirdly heartfelt at times, where especially if Jeff does like a big speech like he always does, he's like, above all else, we should not, he's like, everything points to we should not be friends. He's like, but here we are. So I think one thing I don't like about Community is I think they experimented too much with the relationships within the group, because that happened a lot. And
at the end of the day, nothing really ended up happening with those relationships.
It ended the way that it started relationship-wise, which I think Jeff and Britta should have ended up together. I think they were...
No, they totally should have.
I think they were actually, like, really cute. But I know, like, friend groups do that, and, like, people just have to be adults about it, and, like, all right, well, that didn't work out, it's okay. So, I don't know. Community is a great show, and you should go watch it. Number 3?
They're moving right past my window with the lawnmower.
I can't.
And I'm really mad. Yeah, go to your number 3.
Number 3. My number 3 pick. Now, if you told me that this was would be in the 3rd spot, like early last year, I'd tell you you're crazy. Number 3 is WandaVision.
Okay. I didn't think about any of the Marvel shows.
Yep.
Dang.
So, WandaVision, I was on the hype train for WandaVision. I was the conductor of the WandaVision hype train, to the point that people started buying me gifts.
That's right. It finally shipped.
And I think WandaVision was so important for me, and we even just rewatched it recently, and it still holds up. But WandaVision was so important to start off the Phase 4 of the MCU, and start off the trend of like Disney Plus shows for Marvel. I think the iconic sitcom callbacks were done beautifully. All the soundtrack is amazing. The cast is incredible. They do such a good job. But the main thing of WandaVision for me was those episodes would release on Friday, and then I'd go to church Sunday, and we would all talk about it. And there are people that I'm still friends with now that I created those relationships by talking about WandaVision. There were people that I would watch WandaVision Like we would be like do a group watch and live text each other while the episode was playing. And like I just have yet to feel community like that around a show, like such a mainstream show. Like WandaVision is just on Disney Plus. Everyone has seen it. But aside from the show just being in like a technical marvel, like that show is amazing the way that they've done Marvel. That show's amazing the way that they've done all their sitcom stuff and everything. But also just my experience with like still have not felt hype for a show like WandaVision. I think there was so much community around that, even on the internet, and it's just it was such an experience to watch that weekly.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point. They're mowing right outside my window, and it's only gonna
I
get
can't
worse.
hear
Anyway,
it, so.
yeah, no, WandaVision is honestly a really good show. I think it's one of the best Marvel has ever put out. Loki is really good. Obviously, Loki is my number one, but WandaVision is a close second because you're right. It is a technical
Number
Marvel.
one
The
Marvel
fact
show.
that they even well, yeah, not my number one
Yeah.
like show. It's a Marvel show. Anyway, it is a technical Marvel. Like if you watch the, oh my god.
I can't hear
They're
it.
just
I think
right outside my window. No, you can't hear it, but I know the audio is picking it up because I watched the waveforms like pick up when they went by the window, so I know it can be heard, and it's really annoying. And we're not at a point where I can just mute myself till they're done.
Anyway,
Talking over them, I'm just gonna sit like this and like shield whatever sound I can. If you watch like the making of on Disney Plus, the fact that they went back and like did the whole live studio audience thing, they painted Paul Bettany in a different way so that the black and white would look more authentic, and all this stuff that they did was just chef's kiss. It really was the
so
best way
extra.
to like bring Marvel back, because they took a whole year off in 2020, which honestly we definitely needed after Endgame.
we need it again, if we're honest. But we're not.
Yeah, no.
Can
Can we have a break now? But also like, it was the best way to bring in Phase 4, and now obviously Wanda's gonna show up in Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is in the new Fortnite chapter. So all I'm saying is, if they drop a Wanda skin closer to Multiverse of Madness,
I'll buy it.
I'm sorry to my bank account, but I'm gonna have to buy it.
Can we?
Listen,
Be my
I
Wanda.
can't not. We can't not.
Be my Wanda. You're Doctor Strange.
We can. What? What? Huh? Jackson, I think you might be on some form of drugs, because first you start with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, and now Wanda and Doctor Strange.
Wanda needs to get out. Wanda needs to put herself out there. Vision's like gone. I'm sorry.
But
No, that's a joke. I think Wanda and Vision are...
no, White Vision is still out there.
That sounds bad out of
He's-
context, but I know what you mean.
No, we're gonna call him Platinum
know what you
Vision.
mean.
There we
I
go.
know what you
Platinum
mean.
Vision is still out there.
Yeah.
No. Ugh. I was gonna say we need to stan our queen in Fortnite.
You know.
When that Multiverse of Madness trailer
When's the
came
Wanda
on,
T-pose gonna happen?
yeah. When can I T-pose as Wanda? When can I Rickroll people in Fortnite as Wanda from Doctor Strange?
Honestly, and all of the...
Yeah, that's all I have to say about.
I'm gonna talk
WandaVision.
about this for 2 seconds. All of the costumes in Multiverse of Madness look amazing. Okay, just wanted to say that.
That's no, you're done.
Okay.
You're done. They changed Wanda's costume though, and that's really annoying. Well, they might have. It looks slightly different than the show. Which
It's
I mean, to
not-
be fair, we really haven't seen
Yeah.
her in the whole costume in any of the trailers. Anyway, number two.
Number 2.
My number 2. Actually, I want to see. What do you think my number 2 is?
Is it
Because
an
I feel
anime?
like once I tell you what the number 2 is, you'll know what the number 1 is.
Is
I'm
it
just curious.
Full Metal Alchemist?
No.
Is it?
I told you it couldn't go that high because it would have to go above Demon Slayer.
Is it on Attack on Titan?
Nope. Attack
Is
on
it-
Titan's not even on this list.
It's not Cowboy Bebop.
No,
Is
oh
it
my
an
gosh,
anime?
you're like going further in the wrong direction.
It's not an anime? Is it Tangled
I
the
don't know.
series?
No. So clearly you have no clue what it is. Anyway, my number 2, My Hero Academia.
Oh!
It was an anime,
Wearing
but I
the
didn't want to like.
freaking shirt too.
Yeah,
Ah, idiot.
Jeez, come on. The answer was right here.
Is it the Book of Boba Fett?
Yes, actually, it is the Book of Boba Fett.
What? No way.
How'd you know?
I just know you said
Um, So,
it's High School
yeah,
Musical.
My
the
Hero
musical
Academia.
series.
I've talked about before on the podcast, like how much of an emotional connection I have to this show.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people are like, well, My Hero Academia is not that good, and the writing is blah, 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 and the animation is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, shut up. First of all, the reason I have such an emotional connection to the show in the first place is because I was going through a really rough time in life when I started watching the anime. And, you know, I watched through the whole anime. I was like, dang, this speaks to me. I love this. And I've attached to Deku as a character. And then, you know, I got through the anime. And then a few months later, I went through another, like, low point in life. And I started reading the manga. So My Hero Academia has always been this, like, it's essentially my comfort anime to an extent. And, you know, I think it is a really good anime. I think it is an S-tier anime and, you know, S-tier manga too. Like, people are like, oh, well, it doesn't do XYZ that Dragon Ball does. And I'm like, okay, well, at least in My Hero Academia, you know, we don't have to watch our character power up for 7 episodes to do an attack that lasts 30 seconds in the 8th episode, and then everything's over.
Wow,
like,
the shade.
come on now. Come on now. I throw shade at Dragon Ball. I'm not a big Dragon Ball fan. But that's a story for a different day. So yeah, My Hero Academia, phenomenal show. And it's one of those things which, here's a hot take. Brief little side tangent for a hot take here. Society needs to stop demanding you to have 70 reasons as to why your favorite movie is your favorite movie. Amen. Or why your favorite show is your favorite
Amen.
show. You should not have to be like, well, the directing and the cinematography in this movie is phenomenal. Because people are like, Nick, why is Weathering with You your favorite movie of all time? What about Star Wars? And I'm like, Star Wars is great, but I just really like Weathering with You. I think it's a really good movie. And that should be all I have to do to justify why it's my number one.
I like it.
Now, of course, when you're talking with more cinephile like people, you know, then you can get into the, well, I think the writing and the direction and, you know, the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. But if you're talking to like a normal person, just be like, yeah, it's my favorite movie. And that's kind of where I'm at with My Hero is like, My Hero, it's my number 2 on this list because it is. Like, because I love it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. And you should also be able to look at your favorite shows objectively, because I don't think WandaVision is the best Marvel show. It's my favorite.
I don't think,
like, it's my favorite
Here's the
Marvel
thing.
show, but I think Loki is objectively better. So I don't know.
I'm gonna hit you with a revelation.
Okay.
Demon
Hit it
Slayer
with me,
was number
brother.
5 on this list. My Hero is number 2. I think Demon Slayer is objectively better than My Hero Academia.
Hey, there you go.
I really do. Especially after season 2, I think it is becoming an objectively better anime than My Hero
Yeah.
Academia. Now, a lot of that has to do with how they're adapting it, but
But
I don't
it's like you gotta be able to disconnect your opinion from like objectivity. But your opinions are valid. That's like, you should have opinions and like strong opinions. But if I say my number 1 show is the best show that's ever been made because of this, and this, and then you disagree with me, I'm not gonna fight you thinking I'm right, because that's an opinion.
right.
Okay. Number 2.
Jeez, that was
My number 2 pick is Friends. Because, so we talked about
Whoa.
Friends for a long time at the beginning of this episode.
yeah.
Friends is my comfort show, like you talked about with Community. I watched it all the way through like a couple years ago. And I think Friends is a comfort show for a lot of people, just because like you get to know these characters so well. They start to like, it's stupid to say that, but they feel like your friends, and you can just go, even if it's just the little mental cue of it's called Friends, and you're like, oh, Friends, cool. But it's a show that I can turn on no matter my mood, and I will enjoy it. And like it'll be on TBS or IFC, and I'll just turn it on, and any episode that's on there is good, and I can just watch it. Not to say every episode of Friends is perfect, but I can enjoy any episode of Friends no matter my mood, and I think that is the showings of a good show. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
We talked about that for a long time before, so I'm not going to go deep into
All right.
it. Honorable
honorable mentions.
Number honorable mentions. Do you want to just go through your list?
1, but then I was like honorable. Yeah, I only have 5 of them because it's
Okay.
really like my top 10.
I have 7.
But so first up, Star versus the Force of Evil. It was really like, I'm not gonna dwell on all of these too long, but this one was like, oh, you can track the show. And another thing, can we stop? Like, just because a show has a female protagonist does not mean that show is only intended for girls. I got so much flack from my grandparents for watching Star vs. Force of Evil because they're like, it's a very girly show. And I'm like, no. She has a best friend who's into karate, and he's a guy. So therefore, it is not only for girls.
She has a best friend who's into... That sounds like a John Mulaney bit. It's like, but no. She has a best friend that's into karate. Karate.
No, it's a great show. I'm really sick of the whole like, and it's different if it's like Barbie. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, that is kind of more for girls than guys. But Star vs. Force of Evil is a very gender neutral show. The color palette just happens to be leaning more towards pink. So,
Pink!
oh my god! It's a pink color palette. Hide the eyes. So
You will not indoctrinate my children.
On that honorable mention list is Friends, but
Yeah.
as you said, we've already talked about Friends. Could not put it on here. Next up, Ninjago. I could not
sorry.
mention Ninjago. Because, don't laugh.
I didn't mean to
because
laugh. I'm sorry. It caught me off guard. I think that's a great show.
Ninjago is one of those shows. Like, Star vs. Force of Evil, Ninjago, and my number 1 are all 3 like animated shows that really shaped my life and who I am now, which should give you a really big hint as to what my number 1 show is, which I'm going to ask you again when we get there if you have any guesses as to what
The
it
Mario
is.
Brothers Super Show, of course.
Obviously, yes. Dang, you spoiled it. So yeah, Ninjago, phenomenal show. Has kind of fallen off in recent years, but I do want to watch it because it's all on Netflix, so I might as well like watch it and just see what's up. Next up, Parks and Rec. It only gets in honorable mentions. Listen, I love Parks and Rec. I love Chris Pratt, but I don't know. It's a good sitcom. It's just not top 5 worthy. And then lastly, you mentioned it a couple times. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It is my number 3 anime of all time. It has like broken that top 3. And it's a phenomenal anime. If you like anime, even if you don't like anime, watch it. It is an anime that does not like. It feels like a show that could have been made anywhere outside of Japan. Not to like take away, not to take that away from Japan, but like it's an anime, but it doesn't overtly like
It's a
lean
story
into a
that
lot
could
of the
work
anime tropes.
no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just to roast the Twitter fanboys real quick, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was written by a woman, which everyone's like, there was a thing on Twitter recently that was like 70% or 77% of manga authors are women. And then there's all these misogynistic guys who are like, oh, well, that's why most of them are trash. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you have a Demon Slayer profile picture. Demon Slayer was written by a woman. Do your research, check your facts. Full Metal Alchemist was written by a woman. I'm pretty sure Silent Voice, which is a great anime movie, written by a woman. Like, dude, just stop, okay? It's okay for women to write things. Like, they can also write good things. It's not,
That's
only
wild.
men can write a good
That's
thing.
wild.
No, stop. Yeah, don't pay attention to the
you-
toxic
what are
anime
you-
Twitters, bros.
What are you doing at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, right after you just destroy the entire... Like, women can't write good manga. Would you like fries with that? Like, I can't... What do you... What? What are you
No,
doing?
and the best part is they were like, ah, yes, this is why the 33% of other manga is good. And I'm like, that's 110%. Sir, do you know math? Like, no wonder you're an idiot. Jeez.
Oh my
Can't even do
gosh.
simple math.
I don't understand. What do people that get into fights on Twitter just do during the day?
They have nothing better to do with their
Like,
lives.
what are you doing? I'm just kind of like, what?
They write.
Don't
Those are
waste
the kind
your
of people
energy.
who write
Don't
really
waste your
long
energy.
threads on r/like misogyny
Yeah.
or something, on why women shouldn't be writers. Like they have that very like 1800s
Yeah.
or whatever mindset where they're like, women are only
The
good for
women.
cleaning, which is not true
Ugh.
in any sort of sense.
No.
But okay,
Is that the
Go
last
off,
of
I
your
guess.
honorable
Just-
mentions?
yeah.
Okay. Here are my honorable mentions. Here we go. You said it before, Parks and Rec, I think is a really good show.
Fair.
But I also I haven't been super exposed to it recently, so I can't, like, my opinion of it has kind of gone away because stupid Peacock.
If you get a VPN, you can watch The Office and Parks and Rec on
Ugh,
Netflix because they
VPN?
apparently only left Netflix in the U.S.
Thanks, Netflix.
Yeah, thanks Netflix. Gosh, screwing over like your biggest subscriber base.
We talked about it. I'm going to say Community is on this list. Absolutely. 30 Rock is an honorable mention. I think 30 Rock is hilarious. I can't endorse it
Thank
completely.
God it's not an actual like, number. Ugh.
30 Rock is so
was
funny.
worried.
Kind of underrated, I think.
Oh wait,
What?
I don't know what your number one is now. I thought your number one was gonna be 30 Rock. Hold on.
I'm going to say honorable mention Superstore is on Hulu. And it's like no one talks about Superstore. That show's super underrated. Was created by one of the producers of The Office. Fun fact. Loki is on this list. I think that's the direction of that show was incredible. Owen Wilson is an icon. And then The Simpsons. I think you can fight and be like, The Simpsons hasn't been good since 1990, whatever. Well, Mike Reese, executive producer, acknowledges this. He says, people say it hasn't been good since Enter Date and then still watch. He's like, I don't care. I think it's still good. So, and then The Mandalorian is another technical marvel that I just can't not have an honorable mention because they've done such a good job with that show.
Okay, I'm really trying to brainstorm here. I think I know what it is.
I don't know
I'm not
what
gonna
you-
say it.
I don't
'cause,
know what
like,
your number
I'll
one
say
is.
my number one is. Take a guess.
You said it's animated,
yes.
shaped your life.
Yeah.
It's going to be really obvious, and I just can't.
It is. I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna like slam your head against the table.
It's going to be really obvious. It's too early for this nonsense. It's 11 a.m., but
It's 11 in the morning. Too early.
it's got to be an old show if it shaped your.
Not necessary. Well,
Ah.
old show is relative depending on how you want to talk about this show.
I
give you 10
legitimately.
more
I don't even have a guess. I'm sorry. I'm gonna feel.
Really?
I'm gonna feel like an idiot because it's not Ninjago.
I have a guess for yours. Just based on what you haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
But I'll save that. So
I'm
my
gonna
number
feel like
one
an
show.
idiot.
My number one
No.
favorite TV
Okay,
show
I'm
of all
so
time.
scared.
I'm gonna say the name, and then I'm gonna take like a brief 5-second pause to watch Jackson squirm in anger
Okay.
in anguish. My number one favorite TV show of all time is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I told you it was like so obvious.
Dang it! I cannot
Dude,
believe it. I
come
was
on.
like Star Wars, something.
I talked about buying a freaking Ahsoka backpack when we were at Disney.
That show completely left my consciousness. Oh my
Uh.
gosh. But also, really?
Yeah. Well, The Clone Wars was the first Cartoon Network show I was ever allowed to watch. It was the first Star Wars show that really ever existed.
Yeah.
It was low-key inspirational to me. Really latched onto Ahsoka as a character. That's why she's my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And you know, everyone's gonna be like, "Well, she's a girl," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's your
Get out
point?"
of here,
Like,
get out of my comment section, Grandpa.
Jeez. Okay, Boomer. Gosh. cringe. But yeah, no, it was the first show that I ever watched seasonally. Like, I was there for every like premiere of every new episode. Oh, I was always like, Mom, we need to be home at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. We need to be home at 5/4 Eastern for the new episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Mom, we can't be out at Target right now. She was like, well, you can watch a rerun. And I'm like, I don't know when they rerun. Just kidding. I actually did, because we didn't have a DVR.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I was absolutely devastated when Disney just came in and canceled everything. They were like, we're done. And I was like, wow, thanks for doing absolutely nothing for me. And then they brought it back for season 7. And I felt like a child again watching season 7. Felt like that kid, watching the Friday premieres of new episodes. It was an era. And yeah, it's Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Again, it's same as like My Hero. I don't really have anything other to say other than I love it.
Come on,
it's a show I can always go back to. And I don't remember what episode we talked about it on, but I talked about the nuances. Oh wait, that was an in-school debate. Never mind. That was not recorded or televised at all.
The line between podcast and real life is blurring.
No, it's so true. I had like a 5-minute debate with one of my friends at school about like why 2008 Clone Wars is better than 2003 Clone Wars. And it all boiled down to like the nuances of the show and how it really delves into like what is it like for people during an actual like war. And it is not a kids show. Like everyone's like, Clone Wars is a kids show. Look up any video on YouTube of like clones fighting. Like there's literally an episode where a clone walks into a ship and dies because it gets blown up as he's walking into it. Like people get decapitated. Like, no, this is not a kids show.
Interesting.
It's animated, which makes people think it's a kids show, but it's not. So that's my number 1.
Wow.
Now, before you say your number 1,
I think that's really interesting. That's a good pick. Not for me. I tried to get into it because I tried to get you into it too. You tried so hard, and I tried so hard, but because I had no emotional connection, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Some people don't.
I respect your opinion, and I agree. Like, I'm sure it's a great show for people that care.
Yeah. Okay.
Take a guess.
My guess. I've only got one of them, and if this isn't it, it's such a swing and a miss. Is it Only Murderers in the Building?
Yes, my number 1 show is Only Murders in the Building.
I knew it because it wasn't 2 through 5, and it wasn't on the honorable mentions list. And I'm like, there's no way you talk about this show way too much for it to not be mentioned at all.
Can we just 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a feat in itself. Rotten Tomatoes hates movies and shows, but I think just the comedic genius of this show is beyond anything I've ever seen. And it was similar to WandaVision, where I got to watch the show weekly with people, and that there was such a community, and like we would call it, this sounds bad out of context, we'd call it Murder Night. And we would, like, when those episodes would drop, I would go over to people's houses with like 6 other people, and we'd watch the episode, and then we'd like pause and theorize and like go back and forth. And like, just as a show, I think the aesthetic hits so hard. It has like this New York Times like classic but modern. It's timeless. That's what I'm gonna say. No Only Murders in the Building is timeless, and it's a Hulu original, which like streaming service original shows throw people off because it's like, I can't, it's fine. But this is legit. Like, will this change someday? I hope so. I hope shows keep getting better to the point where I can watch a better show than this. But right now, if someone says, hey, I need a new show to watch, this is my number 1 pick. Because it sucks you in from the beginning. There's so many creative things. Like, every episode has a narrator. And one of the episodes is narrated by the character who's deaf. And so you hear his internal dialogue. But that's the only audio for the whole episode. It's just his internal dialogue. and like you get to see all the different pieces of the puzzle come together. And doing mysteries is so hard because of like there's a million episodes of Scooby-Doo, and so like how do you shock an audience in a mystery? And they did it, and it's so funny and it's so good, and Steve Martin is an icon.
Isn't he the Steve Martin? That's the same guy who played what's his name on The Good Place, right?
No. Are you thinking of Ted Danson?
Maybe.
He played. You're talking about Michael?
Yeah.
That's Ted Danson.
Isn't he also in Only Murders in the Building?
No.
Who did I see on the cover?
Steve
then?
Martin.
Why did he look?
That's Steve
they
Martin.
look so familiar. Oh, they look. Sorry, it was the brief glance of like guy in suit, glasses, gray hair.
And then
that's all I've really seen.
You might know Martin Short from something else. He was Jack Frost in the Santa Claus 3. if you know that.
That's probably the only thing I would have briefly seen his face in, even though I've never watched the movie.
The way that they are best friends, like they tour together, and it's amazing. They're so. And then Selena Gomez like was kind of a wild card for this show, but she blew it out of the water. She did so good. Like I kind of forgot she can act. I'm just saying.
Fair.
I've never steered you wrong for shows. I will give you a Hulu profile if you will watch this show.
Please?
Okay.
Deal. Nice.
Deal. Only Murders Pod? Come on. Hello?
Honestly, I would do it. But before we kind of like wrap up here, I want to piggyback off something you said about how you hope that your list changes and that shows are always getting better and always, improving. And same here. I would be remiss if, Demon Slayer was always number 5. Like, I love it to death, but I would love to see shows better. I don't want things to stagnate. I expect Demon Slayer to get up to at least number 4, maybe 3, depending on by the end. I've heard the ending is really good. I haven't read the manga though. But yeah, no, I'd be remiss if, shows didn't shift around. Who's to say, like, the Clone Wars may never move. Like, it may always be my number 1. I may never see or watch or enjoy something as much as that. And, maybe the childhood nostalgia keeps that at number 1 forever. Good for that show. Good for it. But all of the other slots on this list, I hope they change. Same for, like, movies. My top 5 movies has shifted in the last year of, like, what movies, I think, like, 2 years ago, Weathering with You would never have been anywhere near the top 5.
No.
But now it's number 1. So just the fact that things should always be changing, and you should be exposing yourself to new shows. You shouldn't say, oh, well, I love my top 5 and I'm never going to watch anything else. Like, it's okay to watch other things. And this was one thing that I experienced after watching My Hero Academia for the first time. I didn't want to branch out and watch new anime because I was worried that I was going to find something that I liked even more. Because for some reason, I thought that just because I found something more means, like, My Hero goes away and dies and, like, doesn't just continue to exist. It's not like these things disappear when, you're not watching them.
Yeah.
Like, they're still there for you to go back and rewatch and enjoy whenever you want.
That's why they're comfort shows.
Exactly.
Just saying. I can open Disney
I can make
Plus.
a whole different list.
I'm saying this could be a whole essay. I can open Disney Plus and watch Boy Meets World whenever I want. Like, that doesn't mean I shouldn't go and watch Arrested Development, because that's a really good show.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway,
so
we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, that's my little. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I wave the white flag of I'm ready to leave before they come back with.
I think it's
lawnmowers.
more of a checkered flag. We're done.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not. Yeah, just checkered flag. We finished. We're not surrendering. I surrender. Let the podcast gods take over. I surrendered. Take over the podcast. So yeah, thanks for listening today. If you want to stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast or on TikTok at the Nerdiest Podcast. If you have feedback or a question you want to submit, you can do so through the Contact Us page on our website.
And if you like what we do here, or if you think it's just kind of cool, if this is your first episode, hey, welcome. We really would love a 5-star review from you, because that's how you get up in the analytics of the podcast, and we want to reach more people. So if you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify or Amazon, or you're listening on your Echo Dot, which you can do, by the way, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, go and give a 5-star review because we deserve it. I'll be honest, we deserve it. And if you have a friend that you think would like the show, hey, go tell them. Word of mouth is the best way for us to grow.
True. And again, thank you for listening. I hope to see you in the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.